everyone. This is Gina Lorenzo, and you have officially joined our podcast, our very first podcast here at RE/MAX Executives. We don't have a fancy name for it, so for right now, we're just calling it podcast. I am interviewing Josh and Charlene Deering, aka the Deering team, and everybody is tuned in today because they want to know how you went from just getting into the business in 2015 to doing over $17 million in sales in 2019 alone, and we're not even at fourth quarter yet. So why don't we start with 2015? So Josh, you were working as a annuity marketing consultant.
Yes.
That sounds fancy.
Yes, I was. I know. No one. It's funny because when you say annuity, everyone scratches their heads. But I worked for a company called Financial Independence Group, and literally some of the top sales marketers in the country, and just jumped right into the fire. Didn't even know what was going on over there, to be honest with you. But the training was phenomenal, and made calls all the time, hundreds of dials a day, and I got kind of burnt out after about 8 years right out of college in the financial world. But I worked with asset managers and financial planners, and these guys were some of the biggest financial planners in the world. And I was calling them and trying to get their business. So imagine that, getting hung up on all the time. But I was behind a computer screen all day in a cubicle. So after, as I mentioned before, 8 years, it just kind of, burnt my candle out pretty much. And
he's a people person, so he needs to be in front of
people.
So
decided to do something different. And Charlene, you were an MRI technologist, so both of you have, respectable jobs, the type of jobs are mom and dad are proud of you, and then you decide, I'm going to chuck that all over, and I'm going to get my real estate license, and I'm going to be a realtor.
Yes.
So what was that like?
Well, it's funny because her and I, once I literally left that industry and had nothing at the time. I didn't know where I was going, what I was going to do. I'm looking for jobs, interviewing everywhere. And a friend calls me and says, you know what, you ought to look into real estate. And so go to Charlene, let her know I'm gonna go and check out this company. It was a boutique firm up in Lake Norman. And I started off as an inside sales associate, or also known as an ISA. And all I did for them for about maybe a year and a half, was set appointments. So that's where I started. And I thought to myself, man, I'm setting all these appointments for all these other agents, and I'm getting paid, it was all right. It wasn't where I wanted to be, but I thought to myself, I need to get my license, and I need to set my own appointments, right? So told Charlene I'm getting my license, and she decided, if you're going to do it and I'm going to help you study, I might as well do it myself.
Yep. I had no intention, though, of getting into real estate. I was just going to help them out, with the studying and the tests and all that, and then here we are.
Started interviewing with several companies and found RE/MAX Executive and loved the Premier team, of course, and loved everything they had to say. And I told them, you guys got to interview my wife too. I hope that's not a problem, and it wasn't. And now the rest is history.
So do you live on North Charlotte? Do you live up by Lake Norman, or?
We are in Cornelius.
So okay.
Okay.
Yep. And is that primarily where your business is at?
I'd say most of it this year has been primarily Lake Norman, but we do all of, Lake Norman, Greater Charlotte area, Valentine, wherever it takes us.
So yeah, back in 2015, when you first started, was it on a training, or was it sort of organic how you did it yourself?
Yeah, I would say it was definitely a little bit of both.
Yeah. Okay. And then, do you focus on buyers? Do you focus on sellers? Do you find both of them equally annoying?
Yeah.
They both take up a lot of time. It depends on the client, of course. I'd say this year we're trying to focus our business more on listings, and then from our listings we convert a lot of buyers and get buyers that way. So listings are kind of our bread and butter right now, but then they bring on the buyers, so we do both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, it'll be a year, right? Her and I together this September, it'll be 3 years. I say a year. 3 years this September.
Mm-hmm.
And first year, 90% of our business,
With buyers, for
yeah,
sure.
was buyers, I would have to say. There might have been, a few listings.
And was that because you were getting them? Who are your clients? Or were they leads?
Yeah, so we, the Premier team really spends a lot of money being able to give their people, right, us, our
Agents.
leads from all different types of systems. So we use Boomtown regularly and religiously. And I told you earlier that I made a lot of calls in the financial industry. So I kind of jumped right in, right? Calling these leads on a continuous basis was no problem for me. I mean, I don't mind if someone hangs up on me.
No, you call them right back and say, I think we got disconnected. Meanwhile, I'm in the corner like freaking out. I could never do that, but he's awesome at that.
Yeah, that's tough for people. That's bold.
Yeah.
It's hard.
But you have to be.
Yeah, I've learned early, right, that you got to get out of your comfort zone sometimes. Some people don't like to make calls. But I think of it like, you know what, I make a call and they're either going to love me or they're not. And I'll never see them if they don't love me, right? I could be in the grocery store and it could be that person that I called, but they'll never know it was me, or I'll never know it was them, more than likely. But so dialing every day, I mean, I was probably making what we had to be making 30, 40 minimum calls a day.
Wow. And that's the only way we were getting business our first year too. 95% of our business was from internet leads.
Everywhere. We would go to Waxhaw, Gastonia, Statesville. I mean, every single place that it took us, we would go. So, and our business was spread out our first year everywhere. We just started to really hone in the last couple of years, our business right where we want to be.
So now, fast forward to 2019, and I imagine that the dynamics of your business have changed as it's evolved, but you guys are really knocking it out of the park even just this year.
We're trying.
What's that been like?
Busy. Very busy. We grew pretty fast, maybe a little too fast for our own good in some instances, just because we were so busy. I think we had 23 transactions going on at one time, so trying to keep everything, straight with that and still have somewhat of a life was a little difficult.
Are you using a transaction coordinator?
Sometimes.
Yes, we have one with the Premier team, and I go back to them because they're awesome. They, they're helping us every step of the way hone in on our business and continue to help us grow and put things in place for us that,
like a transaction coordinator,
right.
Marketing, that kind of thing. So that kind of helps alleviate some of the stress on us so that they can do some stuff for us.
For sure.
So it sounds like that they've got a formula and you followed that formula and it's really worked out for you guys.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So the company I was with when I first started, I did very minimal business, and and the training was okay. I don't think it was completely where it should have been. Now I know, because I'm, her and I being with the Premier team, it's night and day, and you just look at how the business has completely evolved, but they're constantly staying at the forefront of what's going on in the industry.
As our hottie and Karush, which we really appreciate.
Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't be where we are without them. And I say that with all sincerity. Like, they are constantly bringing us what's going on in the industry. Hottie and Karush are up to speed with, all the iBuyers, and that's very, very important to us because that's where the business is going, and you got to be able to adapt and overcome, what's going on, and we have, full force. So when you're up against somebody like Knock Homes or open door and offer pad. You got to know your competition and be able to be better.
I agree. I agree. So do you focus on a particular price range?
Not really. We're kind of all over the place. We have $200,000 listings. We have $1.9 million listings, you know.
We'd like to focus on the bigger ones, but I think, you know, our goal is really just to have as many listings as we possibly can, because from those listings we get a lot of buyers.
Yeah, listings give you a lot back. They do.
They really do. You're
so we're
exactly
more
right.
focused on the volume of listings rather than price ranges.
So first year, predominantly buyers. Second year, probably buyers, and then getting into some listings.
Yeah,
Yep.
pretty good mixture of both our second year.
I would say it was, second year was 50-50.
Yeah.
Or maybe not quite 50-50, but close. And then this year, it's, I would say,
70-30?
yeah, 70-30 listings and 30% buyers.
And that's a really good mix. That's a very successful mix.
Yeah.
Do you advertise?
We do. We do a ton of social media advertising. I think that's one of the things that sets us apart as well. I mean, we've sold houses by doing a Facebook Live video at an open house, and then somebody tags someone else that knows them, and then we've sold houses that way and done a dual agency. So
Yeah.
if you're not advertising on social media, you're completely missing
Are
the boat.
you doing your own social media advertising?
Most of it, yes.
Okay.
And then Maggie, our marketing girl with the Premier team, does a lot for us too to help advertise open houses and things like that. But we do most of our own advertising.
Yeah, I think, you know, as we grow, right, that's probably going to go in a different direction. And what I mean by that is we're probably going to have somebody doing that full time for us. I mean, I'm talking like bigger picture, like 5 years from now, you know, 3 years from now, where we have a whole team, you know, with us doing just stuff for us. I mean, we want to have a volume of 100 million, you know, so with that, it's going to take a lot of people backing us.
And freeing up some time.
Yeah.
So you do social media advertising. Do you do any print?
Some, you know, we have some neighborhoods that we're pretty well known in where we do a lot of listings, and we'll do, you know, print flyers and send them out about sold homes.
Yeah, we try to be different, right? So everyone's sending the, you know, the mailers out. I'm not saying it doesn't work. We got a few listings from the mailers in, you know, neighborhoods that she grew up in, neighborhood that I grew up in, which is, you know, I think that's kind of where you should start, right? Where you know.
Right.
So yeah, we started sending mailers out, but our marketing is different. You know, it's the social media side of marketing is constantly being in front of people any way you possibly can.
Yeah,
And
if you're not posting, if people aren't seeing you, you know, then they'll forget about you. So you have to constantly just stay in front of people. Not necessarily, you don't have to post everything about real estate. You know, you can put some different local things in the community, things like that. But, you know, when somebody has a friend who needs to sell a house or wants to buy a house, you want them to immediately think of you. You know, you don't want them to forget about you.
So are you using your business page? You're using your personal pages?
We do both.
We do both. I think that this is what I would recommend. Everyone has their own, you know, way of doing things, but our business page, we post a lot of stuff on there from our, you know, listings to our homes, and really that is not for our friends or our followers. It's more, you know, people who don't know us, and they're on Facebook and they're like, I want to look up Josh and Charlene, the Deering team. So they go there and they see all our content and what's going on in Charlotte and Lake Norman. It's not just listings, but we take those posts, right, from our listings on our business page, and then we'll post them,
We'll share them to our personal
page. It's very important to do that because we can go from 800 views, right, just on our business page to like 2,000 or 3,000 views, right?
Yeah,
because
I get a lot more views on my personal page too.
Right.
So, you know, I put stuff on my business page, but posting stuff on your personal page, Facebook is how people find out who you are now.
Yeah, for
Definitely.
sure.
Somebody messaged us on Facebook the other day and said they found us online. They loved, you know, what they saw, and now we have them under contract. They were coming from New York, just looked us up online, and we got a buyer that way.
So what do you want to say to agents that don't have a big presence online? I mean, seems like it's a pretty critical part of your business.
I'd like to go and bonk them on the head and tell them, get with the times. You know, it's the way the industry's going, and if they're not on online with a big social media presence, you know, then in my opinion, they're missing the boat completely. They more than likely could take their business to a whole nother level.
And it's important for sellers and buyers, mostly sellers, I guess, to see that. You know, that's one of our pitches too with our clients, is that we do have such a strong social media presence, and you know, there's so many people on social media.
Absolutely. Huge in our pitch, right? So we go and we have thousands of followers, and we're only going to get more. You know, it's another piece we're adding to our mix, and I don't mind giving, you know, I think people out there know, right, what they need to do. It's just who implements it, and we're somebody that knows that social media is the way of the future for the moment, right? It continues to evolve, and when it does, we'll be ready to adapt. But at this point, we want to get a strong, even more followers, but you want to get the right followers. You want to get, you know, not just anyone. You want to get agents on your side, you know, brokers, all up and down the East Coast, West Coast, everywhere, and you know, potential buyers, and even past clients. So
yeah, and there are companies out there that do that for people. So, you know, if people aren't that comfortable with social media, or they don't really know what they're doing, there are tons of companies out there that can help you, you know, grow your following.
So who's posting? Is it Josh? Is it Charlene? Who's posting?
Mostly me.
Okay.
Mostly I'm posting videos of Josh doing things. No, we like to keep it fun. You know, we like to keep it engaging and let people know what we're doing while we're on showings, and different things, funny things that we see.
Yeah, but she discredits herself, so she's constantly keeping up with, you know, how to make the post create more buzz, right, with these hashtags and things like that.
And is that just organic? Did you just learn to do that on your own?
Pretty much, yeah. And then, you know, we followed some big influencers, and I was kind of seeing what they were doing and what they were writing on their posts, how they were getting more followers, and then I just started kind of implementing that into our own marketing, and it really
combined
took off.
we have a few thousand, right? But I'd be shocked if next year our goal, so we set really good goals for ourselves, and they're obtainable, right? You don't want to set something that you just can't reach, but our goal would be to have, you know, 10 to 15,000 followers at least. So that gives you any inclination of.
Yeah, and that's a job in itself.
Yes.
It is. It definitely is.
It is.
It's hard. So what's the dynamic in terms of working on a team? And I don't mean the premier team. I'm talking about a husband and wife team.
I know. Everyone asks us that, right? They're like, how do you guys work together? And you know what? I think the biggest, well, I know the answer to that 100% is she's my best friend, right? So if we didn't work together, I'd never see her and she'd never see me.
No, there's no way.
Because that's how it was in the beginning. Before she came on board, I never saw her. And so, yeah, I mean, you have to love who you work with, and she's my partner in life as well, right? So, and my best friend, so we have
fun doing it. I mean, there's moments that we want to pull each other's hair out and separate ourselves
now,
for a minute. But
do you find that, like, one of you is better at, say, handling a difficult client than the other?
I think it's funny because we have, some people would say, oh, you know, Charlene can do everything you can do, and you can do everything she can do, and you guys divide and conquer, and I agree, right? We could, but having, and we do, but having two different perspectives and two different people that can handle, because everyone out there is different, right? So you have
your clients are different, right?
Yeah, you know, I mean, so having two really helps, but Charlene will handle, it's funny because I think she knows when I'm like a pit bull sometimes, because I just want to go in. I'm very competitive, and, you know, there's ways to handle clients, and then she'll look at me and say, hey, you know, before you make this call, you need to make sure you come back down a little bit, think about what you want to say.
So Charlene's the warm and fuzzy.
Yeah.
Exactly. She's the warm and fuzzy. Or if it's somebody that's just not, I just don't have the patience for, I want to say, then she takes over, right? And
Then I'm the lucky one who gets past.
Yeah.
So I have, I don't work with my husband, which is actually a really good thing. But I do have an identical twin who works with me, and she doesn't do sales, but she's part of our team, and she helps me get houses ready to put them on the market. And so kind of a similar concept, though, in terms of she's the warm and fuzzy, I'm not, and I know our clients recognize that pretty quickly. If we both go to a property together, which doesn't happen that often, she gets a hug, I get a handshake.
Mm-hmm.
So
see, it's funny that you say that, because and I always say this, and I'll say it and say it. She is, and it's so cliche to say, right? She's the yin to my yang, right? So, and that is 100%, and I think that's how we click too. But when I see a client, I hug them, right? She doesn't. She's the handshaker. I'm the hugger. I'm the touchy-feely. I'm very, I'm passionate. I love people. I want to hug them when I see them. I want to get on a level of, they'll never forget me, and I'm just as genuine as I could be,
And we become best friends with our clients. We've gone on vacations with our clients. We've gone to our clients' weddings.
Yeah.
When we meet people, we truly care about them and the relationship, and I think that really resonates with them.
For sure.
which I think is great, and I think that's something that a lot of agents don't do and they don't consider, because this is a relationship business.
That's what it's all about.
It's just a transaction to an agent. I'm not saying you can't be successful that way, but I think your business could, again, go to the next level if you got on a relationship level with your clients, right? And, they're going to think of you. They're going to refer to you.
I think that's part of the reason why, our business is now 90% referrals.
Yeah.
Is because
Well, I was going to ask, do you have a
clients.
CRM? Do you use
We
a
do,
CRM?
yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you do a drip campaign or anything, or?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
We'll set it up in Boomtown. We'll use that for the moment as a CRM. Yeah, and we do a drip campaign. I also, the Premier team brought Charlene and I something phenomenal, and I'll share it with everybody. So there's an agent that would close, right, on a piece of business in a neighborhood. Let's say you're in, it doesn't matter what neighborhood it is, but you had them on a search. You were constantly sending them properties. Next thing you know, you close on the property, and guess what? You turn them off the MLS, right? They're not getting anything from you. Well, think about going back, and instead of turning them off from MLS and never getting another property, why don't you send them in that specific neighborhood everything that's closing, right? All the closed properties. So now it doesn't have to be a daily, but it could be like every month.
Monthly, yeah.
They get an update of closed
Yeah,
properties.
I don't, so I'll use gateways, and I do not turn off that gateway ever. And basically, until they unsubscribe. I've had people, you can see when they're looking at it, and I've had people call me and ask to go look at houses and ended up buying something even though they haven't been in their house that long. So I agree. I think, again, don't cut them off.
Yeah.
Keep them on. So you have 1,300 followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
So, and that's quite a feat.
Yes, and that's just I think one of our, so Charlene has your page, right? Personal. You don't really do that much
Not anymore, just because I handle our
I have
page.
mine, but I'm probably going to I still do that because I have a lot of followers, but.
Are you posting every day to Instagram?
Oh, yeah.
Basically, we do a lot of Instagram stories, so we might not do like an actual post every day, but we do a lot of Instagram stories and, just letting people know some of the funny things that we go through with clients or on showings, things like that.
And then tell our listeners, because some people are not going to know what an Instagram story is.
Mm-hmm.
So
an Instagram story is kind of a short little video that you can post, and it lasts for 24 hours, and then it goes away unless you save it. So people can kind of get a little snippet of different things
what
throughout
you're
the
doing
day.
every day, and like Charlene said, you can do tons, right? And it will show everything you're doing throughout that whole day. So we try to just, stay connected. That's all. Stay in front of people.
How do you disconnect from work?
Oof, we don't.
I don't know if we do. Yeah, I don't think we do. So we don't have kids, right? So and I think that's a good thing, right? You try to shut it off, but we answer our phone all day. We can never really stay disconnected.
We have clients that text us at 4 a.m., and we answer.
But I think that's another, right? Everyone should, you have your times. It kills me that, like, there's some agents out there that if this message is left after 4 p.m., expect a return call tomorrow. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
We're available. We honestly make ourselves available. We're having conference calls with people at 9 p.m., 10 p.m.,
We've
11.
left Panther games to go show a property because somebody wanted to get in. They knew it was a hot property. I mean, we are literally available 24/7.
But
for our
you're
clients.
at over 17 million in sales this year, so obviously that's working.
Yeah. And we closed, but we hope in the pipeline we're up around the 20s.
We're at like 22, yeah.
Yeah. So our goal was 20 this year. We want to do 10 apiece, right? So we split everything down the middle. But I think we'll hit 26 maybe.
Well, congratulations.
Thank
Congratulations on a fantastic 2019, and it looks like you guys have got a good plan, and goals are good. So I just want to thank you today for being the first in the chute and joining us on our podcast. And if people have any questions, can they email you?
Of course. Yeah.
Can you get more information
Yeah,
from
definitely.
you?
Our email is thedeeringteam@gmail.com, and they can email us, and I'd love to hear from them.
All right. Well, great. Well, thank you, everyone who decided to tune in today, and this will be posted on our YouTube channel for people that want to listen to it at a later time. And that's all we have today. Thank you.